The early 20th century was a period of immense change in British India. The British Raj, the rule of the British Crown over the Indian subcontinent, had been in place for over a century. This period saw the rise of Indian nationalism and the demand for self-rule. The Indian populace, diverse in its ethnicity, religion and language, was united in its desire for freedom from colonial rule. Amidst this struggle for independence, a complex interplay of social, political and economic forces was at work. The Indian National Congress, founded in 1885, had emerged as a prominent voice advocating for greater Indian autonomy. While the Congress initially sought dominion status within the British Empire, the demand for complete independence gained traction over time. However, the path to freedom was not without its challenges. British India was a land of stark contrasts, with a vast population encompassing a multitude of religions, languages and cultures. While the desire for independence was widespread, the question of how a free India would govern itself remained a point of contention. This period witnessed the rise of various ideologies and movements seeking to shape the future of India. The Muslim League, founded in 1906, emerged as a platform to voice the concerns and aspirations of the Muslim population. The League, initially focused on safeguarding Muslim interests within the framework of a united India, gradually evolved its stance in the face of growing communal tensions and the perceived dominance of the Congress. The Indian National Congress, led by figures like Mahatma Gandhi and Jawaharlal Nehru, championed a vision of a united and independent India.
Gandhi's philosophy of non-violent resistance resonated with millions, mobilizing the masses in the struggle against British rule.
The Congress advocated for a secular and democratic India where all citizens would enjoy equal rights and opportunities, irrespective of their religious beliefs.
The All India Muslim League, under the leadership of Muhammad Ali Jinnah, initially shared the goal of independence, but increasingly emphasized the need to safeguard Muslim interests.
Jinnah, a brilliant lawyer and astute politician, argued that Muslims, as a distinct community, required political safeguards within an independent India. The League's stance evolved over time, influenced by factors such as the perceived Congress dominance and the growing communal tensions. The emergence of these two major political forces, each with its own distinct vision for the future of India, set the stage for a complex and often tumultuous political landscape. The Congress, with its broad-based appeal and vision of a united India, enjoyed widespread support. However, the Muslim League's growing influence, fueled by concerns over Muslim representation and identity in an independent India, added another layer to the struggle for freedom. As the movement for independence gained momentum, communal tensions between Hindus and Muslims became increasingly pronounced. This period witnessed a surge in religious nationalism, with both Hindu and Muslim organizations vying for greater influence and control. The political discourse became increasingly polarized, with each side accusing the other of harboring ill intentions. Several factors contributed to this growing divide. The British policy of divide and rule played a role in exacerbating religious differences. By favoring one community over the other at various points, the British administration inadvertently fueled communal tensions. The rise of religious nationalist organizations on both sides further deepened the divide, promoting narratives that emphasized religious differences over shared national identity. The 1937 provincial elections, held under the Government of India Act 1935, proved to be a turning point. The Congress's resounding victory in several provinces raised concerns among Muslims about their political representation and future in an independent India. The Muslim League, which had performed relatively poorly in the elections, used this outcome to bolster its claim that Muslims needed a separate political platform to safeguard their interests. In March 1940, the All India Muslim League held its annual session in Lahore.
Against the backdrop of growing communal tensions and the perceived Congress dominance, the League adopted a historic resolution that would have far-reaching consequences.
This resolution, known as the Lahore Resolution or the Pakistan Resolution, marked a turning point in the history of the Indian subcontinent. The Lahore Resolution, moved by A.K. Fazlul Huq, the Chief Minister of Bengal, demanded the creation of independent states in the Muslim-majority areas of British India. While the resolution did not explicitly use the term Pakistan, it called for the grouping of geographically contiguous areas with Muslim majorities into independent units. This demand for separate Muslim-majority states was a significant departure from the League's earlier stance, signaling a shift towards the idea of partition. The resolution was met with mixed reactions. While the League hailed it as a victory for Muslim self-determination, the Congress and other nationalist groups condemned it as a divisive move that threatened the unity of India. The British government, preoccupied with World War II, initially adopted a cautious approach, choosing to observe the unfolding political drama without immediate intervention. The Lahore Resolution had a profound impact on the political landscape of British India. The Muslim League's demand for a separate Muslim state injected a new dynamic into the independence movement. The Congress, steadfast in its commitment to a united India, rejected the idea of partition, viewing it as a threat to the nation's integrity. Initially hesitant to engage with the demand for partition, the British government found itself increasingly drawn into the escalating political crisis. As communal tensions flared and the demand for Pakistan gained momentum, the British administration faced the daunting task of navigating a complex and volatile situation. The period following the Lahore Resolution witnessed a surge in political activity. The Muslim League intensified its campaign for Pakistan, mobilizing Muslim support across the country. Meanwhile, the Congress, while opposed to partition, grappled with the challenge of addressing Muslim concerns while upholding its vision of a united India. As the Second World War ended, the British government, weakened by the war effort and facing mounting pressure for Indian independence, decided to withdraw from the subcontinent. The question of how to divide the country, however, remained unresolved.
The Muslim League, under my unwavering leadership, adamantly insists on the creation of Pakistan.
The Congress, despite its reservations about partition, realized that the alternative might lead to a bloody civil war. The negotiations between the Congress, the Muslim League, and the British government were intense and complex.
The final plan, known as the Mountbatten Plan, proposed the partition of India into two independent dominions, India and Pakistan.
The partition plan, while offering a solution to the political impasse, came at a heavy price. The hastily drawn borders, particularly in the Punjab and Bengal regions, resulted in mass displacement and horrific communal violence. Millions of Hindus, Muslims, and Sikhs found themselves on the wrong side of the newly drawn borders, forcing them to flee their homes in search of safety. The Lahore Resolution, adopted in 1940, cast a long shadow over the history of the Indian subcontinent. It marked a turning point in the struggle for independence, transforming the demand for Muslim self-determination into a full-fledged movement for a separate Muslim state. The resolution's legacy continues to shape the political and social landscape of both India and Pakistan. In Pakistan, the Lahore Resolution is celebrated as the foundational document that paved the way for the creation of the nation. It is seen as a testament to the Muslim community's struggle for self-determination and a symbol of their distinct identity. The resolution's anniversary is marked by official commemorations and public celebrations, reinforcing its significance in the national narrative. In India, the Lahore Resolution is often viewed as a symbol of division and a reminder of the painful partition process. While acknowledging the historical context in which the resolution was adopted, many in India see it as a moment when the idea of a united India was irrevocably fractured. One of the most enduring legacies of the Lahore Resolution and the subsequent partition is the unresolved dispute over Kashmir. The princely state of Jammu and Kashmir, with its Muslim-majority population but ruled by a Hindu Maharaja, became a flashpoint between India and Pakistan. The Maharaja's indecision over whether to join India or Pakistan led to a chaotic situation, culminating in armed conflict between the two newly independent nations. The First Kashmir War, fought in 1947-48, resulted in a ceasefire line that divided the region, with India controlling the majority of the territory, including the Kashmir Valley. Pakistan, citing the region's Muslim-majority population, has consistently demanded a plebiscite to determine the will of the Kashmiri people. India, however, maintains that Kashmir is an integral part of its territory. The Kashmir dispute has remained a major source of tension between India and Pakistan, leading to two more wars in 1965 and 1999. The region remains heavily militarized, with both countries accusing each other of human rights violations and fostering unrest. The unresolved Kashmir issue continues to cast a shadow over the relationship between the two countries, hindering efforts to normalize ties and promote regional cooperation. The Lahore Resolution, while primarily focused on the political future of Muslims in British India, had far-reaching consequences that extended beyond the borders of the newly created states. The partition of India and Pakistan created a complex geopolitical landscape marked by enduring rivalry and mistrust between the two nations. The two countries have engaged in multiple armed conflicts fueled by territorial disputes, political tensions, and ideological differences. The nuclearization of both India and Pakistan in the late 20th century added a new dimension to the security environment, raising concerns about the potential for a catastrophic conflict. Despite efforts to improve relations, the legacy of partition and the unresolved Kashmir issue continue to hinder the development of a stable and cooperative relationship between India and Pakistan. The two countries remain locked in a cycle of mistrust and animosity, hampering efforts to address shared challenges such as poverty, terrorism, and climate change. The Lahore Resolution, adopted in 1940, stands as a pivotal moment in the history of the Indian subcontinent. It marked a watershed in the struggle for independence, crystallizing the demand for a separate Muslim state and ultimately leading to the partition of India and Pakistan. The resolution's legacy continues to reverberate in the political, social, and cultural landscape of both countries. The creation of Pakistan, while fulfilling the aspirations of many Muslims for a homeland, came at a heavy price. The partition process was marred by violence, displacement, and enduring animosity between the two newly created nations. The unresolved Kashmir dispute, a direct consequence of partition, continues to be a major source of conflict and instability in the region. The Lahore Resolution, while a testament to the power of political aspirations and the complexities of identity politics, also serves as a reminder of the enduring challenges of nation-building and the human cost of division. The echoes of this historic resolution continue to shape the relationship between India and Pakistan, serving as a potent symbol of both the possibilities and the perils of pursuing freedom and self-determination.